Welcome, everyone, to the Courageous Possibilities podcast. Today, I am sharing with you another beautiful human who is here to share with us a little bit on the codes of abundance today. And today, this is Eos Koch. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Joe. I'm so grateful to be here. And
I'm really grateful for you to say yes and be here. And let me just read a little of your bio so that people know why I've been so excited to invite you here. So Eos is a soul alignment coach, a web designer, brand photographer, and author of the book, The Soul of Business, founder of the Essentia Lux brand and Aurum membership. And she supports soulful and creative women entrepreneurs in building a business, brand, and website that is an authentic reflection of their unique energy. Her intention is to support creative women in creating a soul-aligned business that supports their desired lifestyle, is built on their core values, and gives them a strong foundation of confidence and clarity to grow and bloom from. And I love, we also need to have that Eos grew up in Switzerland. She's married to a man from Italy, and they've moved to Spain 5 years ago. And her business is fully supporting her as a family. Her husband works with her as a web developer specializing in WordPress. And they live with their 2 daughters and 3 dogs on an island in the Mediterranean Sea called Menorca, which I've been lucky enough to come and visit on Eos's retreat earlier this year. Did I catch everything there? Did I miss anything?
yes, you catched everything and you missed everything.
Yeah, that's it. Because there's always so much more than you can possibly
how
write.
can our stories fit into like 2 small paragraphs? But
Exactly.
yes, I can feel it's a beautiful overview, and it's how I feel who I am. Yes.
Yay, amazing. So here we are on the Courageous Possibilities podcast, and I would love to share a little bit about you, or give you an opportunity to share a bit more about you. And I always love to ask the question, where in your life, or what are the like key core moments in your life where you've really needed to tap into courage?
Yes. Oh, so many times. I feel I was born on the edge of courage. I feel even the story how I like was, my English is not very good. I don't remember how when my parents met and
Yes.
they
Conceived.
created me.
Yeah, conceived,
Yes.
perhaps.
They
Yeah, your
conceived me.
English is very good, by the way. It's really very
But
good.
this is words I never use. So
Sure.
when they conceived me, they were actually in Mexico, and they
Mhm.
had an ayahuasca trip. So this is when I
Wow.
went through, and I often feel like, oh my God, that's just the story of my life. And it is a beautiful reflection of how I show up at the edge, right? And I
Right.
was actually in a Mexican village with a Mexican medicine man holding that ritual, and they actually both didn't want children. Like my mother, her whole kind of pregnancy, she was so sad that she was pregnant. I was really unwanted from already in the womb, which was hard, but at the same time, like really called to be here. And I feel that's really the starting point of how courage was needed all the time.
Amazing.
Um,
Amazing.
there was a lot of disruption from the beginning. And I had to make a lot of peace with it to be that person that is just out here in the courage, because without even knowing it, just for existing.
Yeah.
And I know you speak a lot about the genie keys and the human design,
Yeah.
and you can see that in my gates and in my energy as well, that there is something rebellious, that just being that energy just awakes that in other people as well.
Yes, and I certainly have experienced that in working with you, both in mentoring and going on this retreat, that, yeah, there's something about your energy that is inviting, but kind of activating.
Yes, it's not always comfortable.
Yes.
Not for me and not for others, right? Yes.
Yeah. And obviously you do so much beautiful work around soulful business and soulful branding and having this energetic frequency of what you're putting out in the world that sort of matches what feels true and what really is a reflection of you. But something I gathered more on the retreat was this part of what you teach around abundance and the abundance frequency. And I would love you to share a little bit more about your beautiful teachings on abundance with us.
Yes, and I feel because I traveled so deeply into the places of scarcity,
Mm-hmm.
I learned to understand the spectrum and therefore then also understand the codes of abundance, right? Like even being unwanted in the womb is kind of like the thing, the most scarcity you can experience before you're even like fully here.
Mm.
And then having to work through that and having to find that anchor inside of yourself, because you can't have it outside of you because your mother is not capable of
Mm-hmm.
holding that, because she wasn't capable of loving herself.
Yeah.
So she wasn't able to love her children or like her firstborn daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And from that, like slowly, I feel I worked my way up into, oh wow, there is more possible. Oh wow, there is something. Oh wow, there is another way. And I feel we all are programmed in the society to be in scarcity. Like our systems are made of scarcity, like the school system is made of scarcity, like the banking system is made of scarcity. Even the all the ways around health, to
Mm-hmm.
me, feel most things like diets and things are just around scarcity all the time.
Yeah.
And we are so used to that. It's just our default. And because it's our default in society, it's often what feels comfortable.
Yeah.
So actually, abundance does feel to most of us really scary in our system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I wonder whether people listening can even just feel that energy. I can feel the energy when you speak. And it's really interesting hearing you too talk about scarcity. People may have heard that like phrasing, scarcity mindset, what have you, but to hear it when you're referring to that experience of being, in the womb and having this sense of I'm not wanted, that could turn into I'm not lovable, or I'm not enough, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. And those types of thought processes that get anchored in as belief systems that sort of affect who we believe ourselves to be are scarcity. That also is scarcity. Like it's not just not having enough things. It's also this like not
Yes.
enough in who I am. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's actually a frequency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because and that's what I explore a lot as well. There is kind of like a band of abundance. And then when we go to the part of not enough, of that kind of like, it's quite clear to most of us that's scarcity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not having enough money to buy food, it's scarcity. Not having the things and the resources we need is scarcity.
Yeah.
But then there is another way of scarcity that shows up a lot in our like society because of consumerism, which is
Mm-hmm.
the too much.
Yeah.
Like I need more, I need more. Like I can study the whole world and I have 25 formations and I need even more. And it's never enough.
Yeah.
And it's really the other way of scarcity that we often don't see. We just label it as abundance.
Uh-huh. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because there's still a story behind that of not having enough.
Yes, yes.
That it feeds this needing to have more.
The too much, the too
The
much
too much.
is another way of scarcity. Even when we like think like, oh, I have to tone myself down. I can't show up in that way. Like I can't show who I fully am. I'm too much. That's a way of scarcity because we hold back our gifts, we hold back our services, especially going back to soul business, which is like my topic.
Yeah.
And we do that all the time. We are so used to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't outshine everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put on your light. Like make yourself a little smaller, which is a way of scarcity that runs so deep.
Yeah, yes, you're pushing one of my buttons with that one. I feel like going, that's, yep, that one was true for me, still is a little bit true for me. And these things they do, it's really interesting. You can think you've done work on it. You can feel like you've dived in and you've explored it and you're like, no, I know that's not true. And then there's some little part that's still really holding on to that belief. They can be so deep.
And it's not just your buttons, right? It's
Yeah.
my buttons as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, yes, it's my story as well. Like,
Mm,
not outshining, not taking up the space. And I feel it's really like the abundance codes is something where you're fully in your essence. And that's why I also feel like the human design, it really fits so well together in that way. If you know yourself, you know, like that part of when you're not in the not enough and not in the too much, when you're just yourself.
mm-hmm.
And that's when you're like, I call it also in the flow of the river. It's so
Yeah.
much easier to go with the flow of the river than to go upstream.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And scarcity is always going upstream. We pressure, we fear, like you can feel it in your body. Scarcity is also a kind of feeling in the body, right? It
Mm.
contracts, it feels hard, it feels like overwhelm, it feels like burnout, it feels like too much, it feels like not enough.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And I do wonder whether some of the habits that we've as a society, and I know I'm generalizing here, like we've come to pick up that are habits of kind of getting ourselves into anxiety. We get like this incredible little tool we can carry around in our hand that we can do nearly anything on, that is such a distraction. I do wonder, like, is the distraction distracting us from that contracting I'm not enough thing? It's just trying to get yourself out of it in a way that's almost can become an unhealthy, ends up catching you in the cycle of scarcity thinking rather than like finding a way to snap out of it or change the channel. My mum used to say when we were kids, like learning to change the channel that's playing on the TV in your mind. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I feel it is because the holding abundance in our energy, actually in our frequency, is quite hard.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't expect it because we want it, right? Everyone, if you
Mm.
ask them, do you want to be abundant? Do you want to have like the money? Do you want to be wealthy? Like we are all like, of course, like
Mm-hmm.
give me all the money, give me the millions.
Yeah.
But actually, most of the time, it doesn't feel really safe on deeper levels.
Mm.
So having something like a phone and scrolling through the phone, it keeps us safe, right? Because it keeps us from doing the thing we know we would have to do to get to the abundance.
Yes.
So it's just another addiction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It can be any addiction you can like, but it's just a new way of addiction that is really subtle and everyone has it in his hands.
Yeah. Yes. It's just too easy to just
It's
keep
so
going
easy.
there as a habit.
The boundaries have kind of like blurred together so much.
Yeah.
It's so much more clear if it's like a glass of alcohol. Even the
Mm-hmm.
other boundaries have blurred, but it's still clearer.
Yeah.
If it's cigarette, if it's like real drugs, it's so much easier to see that, oh, that's the addiction and that's the part of when I'm me. Because you don't change, you then don't change with the phone in the same way. And
Yeah.
you have different ways of using. Like the phone is like such a perfect tool to grow your whole business, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the door to freedom and the door to hell.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I would love for you now, if that would be all right, to talk a bit more about the abundance frequency. Like, let's just describe that and yeah, let people feel it as you describe it. I would love
Mhm.
for, and the journey, and And I guess there's even that piece of like how, having said all what we just tapped into just really briefly on our addictive like distractions, how actually continuing to align with the abundance frequency and to keep consciously choosing that, how that's aligned with like courage and the heart and the way of the heart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it needs like what I would say at the root is really choosing love, right? We go back to that really basic concept. If we choose fear, we choose scarcity. If we choose love, we choose abundance every time.
Mm-hmm.
So any choice we meet, even with the phone, for if we have that simple example,
Yeah.
if we choose love and we use it for things that bring us love and others love, it's a beautiful tool.
Mm-hmm.
But often the choosing is so buried in our unconscious. But the abundance frequency, how it feels to me like love in our body, but it's also different.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, and I would invite all the listeners actually to maybe even right now take a small moment and feel in your body, kind of. If you feel that in your body, if you feel like you're in that flow of, in the river of abundance, you have everything you need. You feel like expanded. Your body is free and flowing. Where in your body do you feel it? For me, it always shows up in my lower back.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an expansion and kind of like a softness in the lower back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we have these templates in our body. How does it show up for you, Joe?
I'm feeling it more actually at the
In the
front
chest.
of my chest. Yeah. And even into up into my
In the
throat. But it
throat.
feels, as you described earlier, it feels expansive rather than when you get those feelings sometimes of like, you know, don't say that, close down that. But I love that you're inviting people to really take a moment and feel into the felt sense. Like, what are you aware of in it can feel quite a physical thing, but it can take practice to learn to realize all these sensations are happening in and around your body. Because we've had a couple of conversations so far around embodiment and around like, what does it feel in your body and things like that. So I love that you're inviting abundance as a frequency that we can actually feel and tap into and go. And I wonder even, I know for me sometimes, and this is again that needing to be conscious about it and kind of reminding yourself to keep doing it. But something that I've learned along the way, you know, I certainly with a heart coherence practice, and they talk about
Yes.
feeling some gratitude or feeling in a joyful emotion as you're doing the breath practice, that actually just inviting it in can be enough. Like inviting it into my awareness, inviting it into this moment. So for anyone that didn't feel it, then when Eos was beautifully just allowing that invitation, just see if you inviting abundance in kind of consciously into your system, into your frequency, makes any difference. If you can, yeah.
Yes. Or even if you didn't feel anything, it's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
And going ahead, exploring along the way, like maybe tomorrow you feel that little glimpse of abundance, and then you can like lean into that and feel and learn to expand it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's really part of the frequency in our body.
Mm-hmm.
And then we learn to recognize it because we meet it from the outside and we're like, oh, that feels like abundance. Never talked about it, because my mind often says something different than my heart, right? Or my body. So learning about the felt sense and I call it a template of
Mm-hmm.
like the frequency template in our body of abundance.
Yeah.
Learning about that, it actually can become like a little bit of an inner compass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And actually just even as you went to explain and invite that idea back in, I got a resonance in more of my body that was excited about it. And I realized too, what you were saying earlier, that it can sometimes feel unsafe because of our programming to feel it. There can be an invitation to go, oh, that's interesting. What else comes up when I invite abundance in?
Yes, yeah, that we get the expansion and the abundance, and then they're like, oh no, it's not safe to go there in our body. And that's how we can practice abundance and the abundance codes in our body, right? We can just hold them a little bit, 2 seconds, and then we can start holding it 3 seconds, and then we get to a minute, and then we align ourselves to that flow. And when we start aligning ourselves to that flow, like we have the frequency of abundance in our body. And then we start more and more to shift our beliefs as well. We start to meet those places in the outside, and we're like, oh, no, that's scarcity. Actually, I never talked about that. And then we start to take actions that bring us closer. We suddenly know what we have to do as a next step in our business or as a next step in our life. And we're like, oh, I know this is my path. And then from that place, the courage comes in, right? And from that place, we're like, this is the courageous decision that I have to do because I feel it in my body that it feels right.
Yes.
My mind is all the way that like, no, that's not safe, that's complicated, that's overwhelming, that's this and that. But it just feels so right in my body. It's that template. It's that frequency.
Yes.
And that's the place we want to get to with the small things and the bigger things.
Yeah.
I just always starts with small kind of little decisions.
And I'm hearing all the thoughts that came up as you were sharing that were around the more we practice it, the more familiar it becomes, and the more we can sort of teach our unconscious behaviors that it is safe to feel this frequency of abundance, that, as you said, is like, it's not enough and it's not too much. It's almost that I will have what I need in perfect timing, almost that idea of like, I will always have what I need when I need it, sort of thing.
It's
you have a better way of explaining that?
No, I think it's really that deep trust that we are safe here on planet Earth, that it's our planet, that we belong here.
Yes.
And that just living here, we are provided everything we need. Like it's our birthright. We don't have to work hard for it. We don't have to deliver and to prove and to any of these things. We just are worthy of being abundant, each and every one of us.
Do you know why I'm giggling? Because I can just hear how many people's voices, and including my own, are going, oh, but that's not true at all because of da 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 da. And like the mind really wanted
and
to
that's the beauty, because
start
that's
disputing
we
that.
are after. And that's why I say, like, to know the abundance codes, you have to go to the scarcity. Like the talks that come up, that's the scarcity. That's what we want to work with. Like, oh, that's perfect that they come up. That's what we want.
Celebrating you, mind.
So like, oh, these are the possibilities. These are the courageous possibilities that pop up.
Yes. Because what if that wasn't true? What if this was true instead? Like the description you just gave. Because then I get to live this life feeling supported, feeling safe, feeling like I can just trust in life to show me the way, to provide what I need to.
And what would happen if we all would be in that frequency?
Imagine.
Oh my God.
Right?
How it multiplies between each other, because two people, like I have goosebumps, like if two people in that frequency meet, it just multiplies. Like the world would look so different, so different.
Because we're not all trying to prove that we're enough, or competing with each other, or knocking other people down, or like watching people in high political positions behave like little children, saying nasty things to each other. You don't need to do that anymore. It could actually come from
but they're just a mirror for us. Like we can think, like that's just true. The scarcity showing up on the outside, right? You just showed so beautifully the scarcity showing up on the inside. Like my talks pop up, and then like the scarcity showing up on the outside. Like
Mm-hmm.
The politicians not doing their work right, like the roles, the things.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the scarcity that we still hold as a collective.
Yeah.
Therefore, it still shows up.
Mm-hmm.
So where can I bring it back home to myself? And where do I get off from my frequency abundance when I see these
See
things?
that. Yes. I love that because
where
it's
can I hold that energy still?
mm-hmm.
Like we as humanity are like still babies in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't hold that frequency of like just it's your birthright to be in abundance. And I know it sounds only like, oh, okay, but what does it even mean? But if you really drop into that deeper, in that sense of if we all would own that,
Yeah.
like there would be no war, there would be no like it would just be so peaceful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because it really does come with that, oh, I'm enough who I am, and I have enough. And I therefore there's this, as you said, the mirror on the outside. You get to be who you are too. I don't need to try and change you or tell you that you're wrong or tell you that, that those extreme polarizations that we see can start to just not harmonize as such. We don't want people to be the same, but there's an element of like allowing other people to be who they are as well and hold where it's healthy and heart-led beliefs around how to live their life. And you can choose that and you can choose that. And actually we can still be in harmony in that space because we all are aligned with the abundance frequency, codes of abundance.
Codes of abundance. Yes.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all rooted on that scarcity, right?
Yeah. So hear it. I would love to hear you if you have any possibilities that opened up for you as you keep like playing with this frequency and teaching it as well. It's very much part of your teachings, I know. What do you see open up for people as they learn this? And I love to be everyone that's listening. Eos is a wonderful mentor. I highly recommend her. Her websites are beautiful, and I love the way that you. I don't want to call me, invite me in this way to gently like meet the edges, but not so much that you're like run back and hide, I don't know. Maybe you're different with everyone, I'm sure. And that's what I needed. But yeah, what possibilities do you see open up in your clients through your business and things like that as people find this abundance frequency and get a bit more comfortable with it?
I think the biggest part of it that it unlocks like a layer of your true essence. Like that you like shed kind of like the masks, or you have to, because if you want to be in that frequency, you have to let them go. And of course, it's not always easy because when you shed the masks, people around you react. They're like you yourself react, and it creates movement, transformation, healing. And then beyond that, you learn to trust yourself so deeply that, for example, in relation to your business, you don't look outside anymore for like solutions and strategies and things, but you start to do it from the inside out. Like, and it's all based on service. It's really that how you're like, because you know yourself so deeply, then you know your gifts, and then you know how you can show up for others. And through these gifts of you show up for others, and you're like just not only holding the frequency of abundance for yourself or that, but you're like sharing it with others. And that's when your business becomes so easy that you feel like, oh, I would do this every day, even if I wouldn't be paid for it, right? And that's when you're like creating, when you're like just in that flow of, oh, this is what you came here for. It's kind of like your soul gifts that I try to reach into and anchor into and trust them, because they feel often so easy to us. So all the talks of, oh, but it should be hard, but work, you have to work for it, right? You have to sweat blood to be like worthy to then have the money also come back to you. And what if it isn't? Like, I want to challenge this way of, what if it isn't that way? What if we are just worthy of like giving what we are good at and doing that, and then getting the money back for that, and then with that money creating the beautiful flow of where do we invest the money? That's like another abundance code, if you want. Like, where do we let the money flow into?
Yeah. Yes.
And what do we create with our like buying power? Like, and then it goes back to how good of a steward of money are we? And that's when we go from abundance to money.
Yeah.
That what becomes that part of like, how much do we trust ourselves to be a steward of money? If we're like, oh, I'm not really good, I don't trust myself. If we are in the scarcity with that thinking, then we will not earn the money.
Yeah.
So we can't like do it wrong. So we keep ourselves safe. If we only have a little money, we can only make small mistakes. If we have a lot of money, we make big mistakes. So holding that kind of like small and comfortable is quite common, especially with women, because we don't trust ourselves.
That's so interesting. I'm really glad that you mentioned that idea of, and how much responsibility am I taking? How good of a steward am I for, what does where I spend my money, does where I choose to invest my money reflect the world I want to see, and, and my values, and who I am, who I really am. Yes.
And then it goes back to capacity. Like the capacity we have to hold, how much money do we have? And that's basically, it's not if you're rich or not rich. Doesn't even have to do with are you abundant or not abundant.
Yeah.
The money has to do with how much of capacity do I have to hold responsibility for myself and for others and for the world. And the more heart-centered woman we are, the more like I would like us to expand these capacities, because again, what happens on the planet, if the money is in the hands of these people, that's what we need for the healing for all of us.
Yes. Yes. The different choices about where money could go across the planet. Yes. What an incredible vision to end on.
And normally what I see, the more we have these beautiful visions, the less we trust ourselves. Because the more responsibility of the world, like, and we compare with, oh, they are doing it like this, and I don't want to be one of them, right? So that's a big part where we're like, oh no.
Yes.
Don't want to be one of the money stewards.
That's interesting,
I don't like
isn't
that.
it?
I don't want to be part of that pack.
Oh, I feel like we could
healers
have
one, right? Like healers and people doing this beautiful work. They don't want to be part of what they see happening with money.
Yeah.
And then they just refuse it altogether and they just go to the other end. And I think that's what I want to change in my work. That's what I want to change with my clients. That's what I want to up-level myself and them into, because it creates like this kind of like not earthquake. Yeah, maybe the butterfly that creates an earthquake, because it creates that ripple effect.
The chaos theory one. Yes, about the butterfly.
Oh, but the ripple effect. I feel we are like so many beautiful souls on the planet, and we are like a net. And we do have to strengthen ourselves to really shift and transform what is happening right now.
I read a quote just in the last 24 hours, and I couldn't tell you who it's by though, which was around, we don't need to break down the old structures. We just need to build a new one that makes the old ones obsolete. And I kind of hear in what you're saying is like, that's what we're going to do by having all these soul-centered, heart-aligned humans in the abundance frequency actually having, I guess you could say, even like the power of money behind their choices, behind their values, behind what the world they want to grow with their choices. Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, because money is a reflection of energy.
Wow, let's hope we've laid some templates on this call today. Thank you so much for being with us. I would invite you, just for the recording, for people that might just be listening, to just, where can they come and find you? I'll put it all in the show notes, but if you want to share out loud, and then they can go and find it without needing to read the show notes.
Yes, I think the best place to start is really my website, eoskoch.com. And from there, I do share sometimes on Instagram, sometimes less. It's really like waves that come and go. I'm quite regular in my newsletter, so if you want to read weekly from me, like joining the newsletter is a beautiful way on the website. Then just explore and dive into and feel it in your body. Feel where you feel that frequency in your body, and that's the place where you should be called to on the website, because that's how I build websites as well, right? And I love people coming to me and like, oh, I resonated with that page, I resonated with that offer, and that's calling to me. I don't even know why. So it does work. I feel like the foundation of all my work is energy.
Yeah. Yes, I know. I certainly can reflect. That's what I experienced when I found your website. I was like, who is this person? I need to know more. Why does it feel so good to be here? How can I do that with my own website? So thank you so much for this conversation. I'm really excited to share it with this audience. And yeah, may they come and find and be in the template, the codes of abundance, with your support and this episode. Really excited to share it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Joe, for having me. It was a beautiful discovery and journey. And thank you for giving me the space to share.
Yes. More space. I feel like we could have a whole nother conversation, but I will end this one today, and perhaps there will be a calling to go further into that collective template that we want to grow and build and see. Amazing. Thank you again. And
Thank you.
until next time, everyone, I will see you soon.